everyone and welcome to my very first Vlogmas for this season. Last year I posted weekly Vlogmas videos, but this time I will be keeping the schedule more flexible as some days are already quite full for me. I would love to post more often, though it is quite hard to plan ahead given the unpredictable nature of my freelance work that impacts everything else. That being said, I'm excited to make the most of this festive season and take you along with me. As many of you know, Romania is my native country, and since December 1st was Romania's National Day, I have been deeply reflecting on what identity means on a personal level. And for me, beginning the Vlogmas with this topic feels very special because it connects this festive season with the celebration of identity and culture. I'm sharing this as music is the side of life where I know best how to contribute, and where I can also share as much content behind the music as possible, so I could make the music more approachable, relatable, and meaningful for all of us. In this context, many Romanian families mark this day with traditions, music, and gatherings, and I would love to bring a little bit of that spirit here, as it represents an important part of what we can define as cultural identity. Because music is both my profession and my vivid passion, I will be approaching this topic from a cultural perspective. And why is this important? Because it makes us feel more connected and more familiar with one another. And by the way, I would love to know what cultural identity means for you if you would like to share it in the comment section. As many of you know, an important part of my music career is my recital project, dedicated to classical Romanian music with folk influences, launched in 2018, named Romania with Love. And while I have promoted the project many times online, I believe I have not highlighted my motivation behind it enough. On the one hand, I have chosen this program because it reflects my artistic motivations and the cultural roots that inspire me. On the other hand, I see this program as a way of bringing to light the music of some composers who are less known beyond Romanian borders, either due to their life circumstances or due to the external challenges that they faced in sharing their work. There were times when people often had to find subtle ways of communicating that have shaped the musical language of my native country. Rather than silencing creativity, these challenges inspired composers to weave meanings into their music. They drew inspiration from nature. The sound of birds, domestic animals, flowing rivers, the wind, the songs and dances of the peasants, their prayers, the church bells, and what we call the toacă, a wooden sematron struck in Orthodox churches to call people to prayer. These elements became part of the musical language and cultural landscape, sometimes carrying a mystical side often present in Romanian legends with supernatural creatures. Romanian traditional music was born at the countryside with folk songs, dances, and instruments like the pan flute, known as nai in Romanian, Cobza, and the violin, used in rural communities. For those of you who are curious to know, Cobza is the Romanian folk lute with short neck and rounded back, used to accompany folk songs and dances. The countryside was the cradle of oral tradition, where music accompanied daily life, rituals, and celebrations. Later, these folk roots influenced Romanian composers including George Enescu, Ciprian Porumbescu, and many others, as well as modern performers. One of the most distinctive features is the parlando rubato style, which is a way of performing an instrument in a manner that imitates the rhythm of speech. It departs from a strict tempo, which is the music word for speed, allowing flexibility and ornamentation, and it creates a deeply expressive quality. This style comes from folk traditions where peasants used to carry their spoken rhythms into songs, and it later influenced classical composition. In my recital program, I aim to bring this style to life and to show how this performing and composing traditions are connected. When I think about Romanian culture, I often reflect on endurance, înflăcărare, which is the Romanian term for passion, and creative humor, where the most unexpected combinations of words are put together in certain contexts in order to dissipate tension in the darkest moments of time, or to create an otherwise ordinary moment into something extremely funny. These qualities appear in music, in traditions, and in the way families hold on to their heritage. Of course, all nations cherish family and traditions. Romanians express these values in their own voice by emphasizing certain words and vowels in their pronunciation, and by suddenly changing pitches or timing in their speeches in order to express a nuance beyond phrasing. This is what I identify as the parlando rubato style in music. In Italian language, parlare means to speak and rubato means flexible rhythm or robbed time. It is a way of performing that follows the natural cadence of speech, ornamented and expressive, that departs from strict tempo but not entirely free. For me, this topic is not about claiming exclusivity, but about sharing how my culture has found its own way in expressing universal human values. Music becomes a mirror of endurance, passion, and humor, sometimes created in the darkest moments, almost out of nowhere. The freedom of the parlando rubato style, the sound of nature, and the heartfelt melodies all speak to a spirit that is both resilient and deeply expressive. And with this being said, here we are at the end of this video. I will continue to share more insights into my music journey, festive atmosphere, and cultural reflections throughout this season. If you like, you can share in the comments what cultural identity means for you. I look forward to sharing more with you, and may this season bring you joy, inspiration, and connection. See you in the next video.